We had a particular agenda to cover, and I'll just go through that agenda in a while. And before that, just a market wrap up. You would have seen mid of March rather, when a lot of correction happened in the small cap and the mid cap space. And I was pretty vocal on LinkedIn that this is something which is not going to last. And it actually bounced back quite well and almost recovering those levels in the next 4 or 5 days, and actually going over and above in the last 15 odd days. So to look at it, I think it could be attributed to a lot of profit booking which happened, and all the last techs, I would say the capital gains which people had to log. But those were the different aspects, and the SEBI regulation which came down heavily on mutual funds to cut their exposure on small cap and mid cap space. But if you look at it now, do those things stand anymore? No, not at all. It has gone over and above. The market is on an all-time high, and I certainly get these questions around, should we invest now? And we would try to answer that question as well as part of this session today. So the agenda for today, and it starts with building your portfolio, and that's not for short term, it's for a long-term wealth creation. Now, when we talk about long-term wealth creation, industry business cycles become very important. The timing, importance of getting at the right time. So when the market has corrected quite a lot, you should be having that capital to put in. And that is what we probably as a solution provide as well. And we'll talk about it. And the various analysis which you can leverage. We also analyze how we have been able to consistently beat the benchmark index, and that we will also have a look. And what are the various reasons why we are able to generate a significant alpha on top of the market. And we also would go into various flows on the app. And last part is the special offer, and just for you, the people on the call, and what we have for you. And that would be very exciting to get you started on your long-term wealth creation if you have not already begun. And most of you would have already begun. So now, building your portfolio. Should we start with a single stock or with a basket of stocks? I think that's a question. And usually, how we have generally done is we have gone by recommendations coming from news, media, from friends and family, and then we invest in a few stocks. And that is how we have started. But I would like to challenge that idea. That was probably valid 15 years back. But now, with solutions around having basket of stocks and invest them in one go, you are able to reduce your risk considerably. If you look at individual stock, if the volatility is, let's say, 25%, and if we construct a portfolio of these stocks, these different stocks with 25% volatility, and a 25 stocks basket, the overall volatility of the portfolio reduces to 10%. So volatility is a measure of risk. It is not actually risk, it is a measure of risk. So it is the way how you should measure the risk of your portfolio. And that is where the basket of stocks, and also I would say a well-diversified basket of stocks, tend to give better risk-return profile. And that is what we do, and we will talk about it in detail. The size of the stock basket is certainly also very important. Is it a 10 stock basket, is it a 5 stock basket, or is it a 25 stock basket? And I wanted to unravel that aspect as well. And I'm going all English today, because last time the feedback I got was it was getting English, but I would really like to hear it on the comments if this is working well for you, and if you would like to have a follow-up session just in Hindi, or that would be really impossible, but probably a English kind of a session. But let's talk about it later. And also one more important thing, I would like you to actually subscribe our channel so that you keep getting updates about all these sessions which we keep doing, and also some of the important aspects around the market which we would like to push it to you on a real-time basis. So subscribe it, like it, and then you would be updated with all that information in real time. Now coming back to the basket of stocks. So size of the basket is important. So when we talk about a multi-cap, which talks about a large cap, mid cap, a small cap, and a basket of that, and if you really want to create that basket, it cannot be created with a 10 stock portfolio. You have to go 25, 30 stocks where you create that kind of a basket. But if you're willing to create a thematic basket, now thematic is about any sector, any industry, specific baskets. Now this is where we would like to talk about, let's say, the financial picks. Now financial industry is a big industry, and it has got probably 500, 600 stocks within that. And if you really want to create a basket out of it, you would rather like to pick 10 stocks. And if you want to create a basket of automobile sector or the EV sector, you would like to pick up a basket of 10 stocks. So I think 5 to 10 stocks. I think that is what the difference is. So if you are picking up a thematic basket, it should be between 5 to 10. If you are picking up a multi-cap, risk-based baskets, that would be 25 to 30 stocks. And I think while the main part of your portfolio should be a multi-cap basket, it should be topped up with a thematic basket, so to say. Now the third aspect, which also becomes very important, is how much capital are you deploying? And if you're deploying, let's say, a smaller capital, then we certainly have some of those baskets, which are 10 stock baskets, which you can try with. And eventually, as you grow, you move towards a more full-fledged 25 stock basket as well. If you want to put in a larger sum of amount, you should spread it across multiple baskets. And if you, let's say, you have a portfolio of 50 lakhs, then putting it into 3 strategies or 3 baskets makes much more sense, because then you remove the idiosyncratic risk, which is around certain stocks and certain industry. It is spread much wider across. And with that, you are able to get better return versus risk. So this is more around building of your portfolio and how you construct your basket. Now, let me talk about a little bit about what kind of baskets do we have. And if you look at this, the multi-cap baskets are categorized into 3 categories. You can call the left one as a low risk one, moderate risk one, and a high risk one. Now that is reflected upon by the volatility. You would also see that in the performance graph, you will see much more volatility in the aggressive portfolios. Now a little bit about which is meant for whom. And if you look at conservative low volatility baskets that are meant for people who haven't had any exposure into equity market as yet, have heard about it, have invested in 1 or 2 stocks by recommendation and have not done well. And they have then moved to mutual funds. But then we can always talk about mutual fund versus basket of stocks, and each has their own advantages depending upon what kind of capital you want to deploy, what kind of diversification you want to have, and what kind of investment horizon you have. But for now, I will keep it for a next session. And also it would be, the timing would be right when we would have mutual fund baskets on the app as well. And I think let's park it till then, and that's not too far as well. So that's a teaser, and you can certainly have a look at that as and when it comes. So conservative, it is meant for people who haven't had exposure in equity market. They have had exposure in mutual funds. It's a passive involvement, which is about once you subscribe to a strategy, the frequency in which the reshuffling happens, the order comes, so the buy and sell recommendation comes, is once in a fortnight, maybe twice in a fortnight. That's the max. So it is a very low involvement, but it is very low volatile. It keeps growing, but certainly the returns are curtailed as well. But we will talk about it. But that's the way to you get in. And once you learn, and over a period of 6 months you have spent towards this, and you have understood the nitty-gritties of how to manage a basket using intelligence, you can move to the moderate risk profile. And that is where you have now 1 year of a stock market experience, and you also have increased your risk appetite as well. And that is, you have got used to a couple of cycles where market corrected 2-3% and your portfolio corrected 5%, or rather 2%, and that's something which you have to get used to, because volatility you cannot get rid of. It will be there. So what you do is, and our slogan goes like this, that you can embrace volatility by outsourcing it. Now embracing volatility means I accept the volatility, but then I outsource it to the experts for them to manage. So when volatility kicks in, I certainly refer and ask somebody within IntelliInvest and say, what do you think about it? And the answer would be, it's a short-term thing, or we are already taken care of, we have converted some of the equity into cash, and as soon as we find the bottom, we will invest that again, and that would multiply your wealth. And once you have experience around the moderate risk strategies, we move towards a little bit of aggressive strategy where people have more than 2 years of experience, very high risk appetite, want to make good return, but then are used to that volatility, have seen a couple of big dents in the market. So something which happened around the 15th of March was once in a year kind of thing, right? And you have to then embrace it and don't worry about it. If you would have sold at that point, you would have lost 15%. 15% in 20 days is what actually, it corrected 5%, but it came back 15% for most of our portfolios. So that we will see as well. The involvement is pretty active in these strategies, and that is you get recommendations couple of times in a week, and when the market gets volatile, maybe a little more as well, and that is what you will get used to as well. Now, once we have had a multi-cap basket, we then top it up with thematic baskets. Now, these are add-on baskets. So it doesn't take the majority of your capital. It takes I would say 70-80% goes to the multi-cap baskets, and then the 20-30% goes into the thematic baskets. And that is where it will depend upon your interest as well, and also the broader macroeconomic themes, depending upon which you can choose a sector or a theme. So we have financial picks, auto sector, digital, we got Build India, we got infra. So all those thematic baskets are also sitting and for you to leverage upon. So that was about baskets. And then as we move, this is a strategy landscape. And I've just kept 3 screenshots because last time we did it by me scrolling across the app. We thought it would make much more sense to have it in the PPT, and you would have seen it already. If you haven't seen it, download the app now and go through these strategies and have a look at the performance. You can also look at the inside of the each of these strategies, and then you can decide which one suits your risk profile. We will talk about the different flows depending upon which part of journey you are in, and that's coming. A little bit about, and I think this is a very important point which we will cover initially and then go into the various flows, is how are we able to generate a significant return above the market. So if you look at these graphs, the red one is the Nifty 50 index. Actually, it is the Nifty 500 index. So Nifty 50 gave 20% return, Nifty 500 gave 30% return in a year, and that is where it is, right? And this is our basket, and this is the aggressive multi-cap strategy, and you can always look at the 3 aspects. Now, even before we go there, let's look at these green bars. Now, this is where it is a cash percentage. So at times we were 30 to 40% in cash, and the rest was in equity. And that is, we will talk about it, why do we do it very consistently. And this is around risk management, this is around efficient capital deployment, but we'll talk about it. So let's cover one first. So this is around March last year. We converted based on our market indicator, our bubble indicator, we used an efficient capital deployment. So we came out of equity for a certain time because we were seeing very good downside there. And then we reinvested again. And towards the start of April, we were fully invested again. And if you can see that this efficient capital deployment tends to amplify our wealth in the long run. Now, these timings are all proprietary indicator driven. I would have talked about the market bubble. I would have talked about industry specific bubbles, and that is what we use for deploying our capital. So that's number 1. Now, number 2 is optimal profit booking. So at times, certain stocks, highly volatile stocks, and this is highly volatile stocks, do tend to shoot up really fast in a few weeks. Now, we have a very optimized way of profit booking, and the percentage is also fixed. The trailing stop losses are also fixed. So it has been optimized to that level, and that is the zone where we do efficient, or I would say optimal profit booking. to generate, to keep the wealth. And you see the difference is becoming more and more. And the third aspect, and that is around the sectoral rotation, which is about which industries are good to invest in at this point in time and which industries should we get rid of. And we use it as part of our business cycle implementation. And if you look at, we moved to from IT industry to capital goods and power in Q3 2023. And you know how it has done since then. And that is a significant alpha, which is 30% for this strategy. And if you go into various strategies, this would differ based on, the alpha would differ based on the risk, how much risk you're taking. I think there might be questions around this. Feel free to write on the chat. I will pick it up. You can also use our WhatsApp chat on the app to have these queries answered as well. And we certainly would like to have an interactive session that we would plan as well. And that's why I want you to subscribe, and then we would be able to have those live sessions, and that would be during the trading hours as well. So coming to how the IntelliInvest solution flow works. Now there are a couple of ways you can actually get into the app. While normal registration process is fine, you can analyze your holdings. So if you already have a broker and you already have some stocks in your portfolio, you can analyze those broker holdings, and we'll talk about it just now. And the second aspect, and we'll talk about it, is about assessing the risk profile using a self-service tool. And if I go into the next screen, this is how you get into the app. You can use one of the three methods, Apple, Google, or direct sign-in, allowing Apple or Google to have access. And as soon as you land, this is our home page. Within the home page, there are two tabs within the holding overview. These are some of the cards which keep popping up, which gives you what latest is happening. I would in short talk about a little bit about holding overview. Now, what is IntelliInvest and what is overall holding? So if you have linked your broker account has a superset of all the holdings. There would be time where you will open an account when you get into IntelliInvest, that IntelliInvest and overall holding will be aligned. IntelliInvest is any investment you have done via IntelliInvest strategies. And this you would show up. So this will show current value, invested value, whatever P&L you have realized, whatever unrealized P&L you have, and that breakdown. And when you touch in, you get into the details of it, individual strategies, etc., etc. Overall holdings gives you a broker view. And if you go into overall holdings, if you have not connected your account, you click on connect account, and as you click account, you go into this link brokerage, and these are the various brokers we have support. Angel one is coming this weekend. It is already live on Android and coming on iOS by Monday. We are talking to other brokers as well. We have XTS, which connects us to multiple brokers, and that would come soon as well. So it's already supported. We are working through this. So for instance, you choose Zerodha. You put in their login credentials, put in the mobile application code. Remember to tick this login in KiteWeb also. And by this, it would mean that you wouldn't be asked the passwords again and again. And as soon as you hit continue, it will pull your holding and show your invested value, current value, and the P&L you are making. Now, this is the summary view. You can go into view details, and you would be able to see what all stocks you have in your portfolio or the holdings. And we have this feature around analyze, and that is where I started, that you can analyze your portfolio holdings via IntelliInvest. You should do it. You should do it to understand what kind of risk profile you have. So once you click analyze, and depending upon how big your portfolio is, it will take a little while to calculate. Now it gives you an overall picture of the risk profile of the holdings you have. It also gives you how the spread looks between the various asset classes. And as soon as you move, there are other things like what are the top strategies which match your portfolio. And now you would be able to see the return you are making here versus the return you would make compared to a matching strategy. And that is where the difference is. That is where the optimization kicks in. That's where our strategies, all those things which we talked about earlier kicks in and generates much more alpha for you. The top contributors within your portfolio, and also you can get a industry level view as to which stocks do you have within that industry and what side of return they are generating. And that is where we talked about the business cycle. Are you invested in the right industries at this moment? And that's a question you need to answer. And that's probably we can analyze for you as well. And as soon as you go into specifics, you can go into specific stocks within that industry and see how they're doing. The most important part in this screen is this bull and bear sign on the very right. And if you see, while we are bullish on most, there's one stock we are bearish on, and that is a red signal for you to take action on your holding as well. And that is something which you can always look at and see how has this stock done vis-a-vis, and had we exited it earlier, would our return would have amplified as well, right? I'll just keep it at that. I'll leave it for questions. I will leave it for one-on-one interactions via WhatsApp, but this is our holding flow, and this is how you analyze your holdings. This is how you tend to understand the risk profile of your holding, and also align it with your own risk profile, and that's very important. And if it is not aligned, it will create either anxiety for you because your portfolio is more risky than your risk profile, and you should then align accordingly, or rather you are not taking enough risk, and that's why you are not making enough return, so you are not happy with the return with the portfolio. So these two things needs to be aligned, and that's what we need to work together on this journey. So building wealth with IntelliInvest, it starts with a alignment of your risk profile and your portfolio risk profile, and I think that's where satisfaction would kick in, and you would feel good about it and able to ride the market in a much better way. Now we talked about analyze holdings, this flow, and second part is the risk profile assessment. And if you look at this now, this is the risk analysis button which you see, and this is on the home screen. Just scroll down a little bit and core features, you will see risk profile, and then a questionnaire pops up. Now this questionnaire pops up, and then you can attempt all these questions. It's a 10-12 questions, and then what it gives you, and these questions are very relevant to your knowledge around the financial markets, about your understanding about capital market instruments, about your way of thinking, about your mindset as well, right? And that understands your risk appetite. And then it gives you a spread across the 3 asset classes: the mutual funds, equity, and FDs. Probably, I think these days ETFs can replicate FDs, so you should rather read it ETF/FD. And this is a sample one. And then based on this risk profile, we are able to match which strategies match your risk profile. And now you can see, does it matches with your holdings? Or if you don't have an holding, you can just start from here. So that is the way to go about. So this is risk assessment. And finally, we did the detailed holding analysis and multiple investment options strategies. Now, based on these, we came up with what strategies you can follow. Now, if you look at, there are trending strategies. Now, trending strategies are those strategies which are being followed by most of the people, and it is in that order. Now, but it should align with your risk profile as well. So you see, we have people from high, medium, low risk, and you can see the returns. If you go inside, you would be able to see a lot more details. There is a definition of what that strategy means. I can read that for you. So for example, an aggressive multi-cap, which we have been talking about since morning, it's a well-diversified 25 stocks basket of good fundamental and high momentum. And this is very important line, high momentum, and that's where the volatility kicks in. So you would so you can pick good fundamentals and moderate momentum, right? And then it becomes a medium risk portfolio. Now, the important point here is, it is a multi-cap, so it has got small cap, mid cap, and large cap stocks. It uses smart capital deployment, and that's why it's able to generate better return. You can see here, and the overall stock basket shuffles every quarter, but then the orders are generated on a daily basis, and that's our USP. And our USP is around the dynamic part of it, active portfolio management. And it is where we review all the stocks in the portfolio, whether they are good to have for tomorrow. I would just say it that way, right? And that is what we do on an ongoing basis, and that's where the alpha comes in as well. And finally, you can look at the performance, 6 months, and if you go into view strategy details, you would see what stocks are there. If you click on that right arrow, you would be able to see what all transactions have happened in this stock historically. And then you can click on subscribe. And once you click subscribe, you can choose one of the amounts. We are going to get one additional feature which is going to come soon, is around a minimum amount and a maximum amount, and you can actually put a custom value in there. And this is going to range. So I think that is how we would do it instead of having very discrete investment amounts here. You can click on invest, and then you can link it with a broker, because it needs to know which strategy needs to link with which broker. An important point here is, since we can link to multiple brokers, you can combine your holdings at one place within Teleinvest and analyze as a whole. And I think that's a key feature as well. So once you do it, then the next step is you have subscribed to a strategy. If you look at, you hit continue, you go and see you have subscribed to Dark Horses 30. It is showing investment of 1 lakh, but that means it is lying as cash. You have to click on this. This will pop up from bottom, verify your pending orders. And if you click on that, you would come to this screen. If you go tab on this orders tab, you will also come to this screen and see there are 25 stocks which orders have been created. And once you touch this, you can actually approve directly from here. It will all go into pending, and once you approve it, it will move to executed. If some of them are not executed, it will remain in pending. And this is a flow which you need to learn, a little bit of Teleinvest specific flow, but that's how it is. And then we start tracking your portfolio on a daily basis. And it is not your portfolio, it's a strategy, right? So we are tracking a strategy and reviewing each stocks on a daily basis. And that's where, so what we have done till now is we have done analyzed broker holding, we have analyzed risk profile, detailed analysis of holding, we have looked at multiple investment strategy options, we have subscribed to strategies, and finally orders are executed via your broker, which we have done as well. And then here it comes, where is a system tracks entry and exit opportunities using our proprietary AI ML algorithms, and then generates alert for you. When it generates an alert for you, which means it has found some stocks which needs to be bought and sold, and then if you click on that, you would be able to place your orders via your broker. And then finally this is a zero-DA flow, if you look at what I mean. And zero-DA flow, if you look at, it is a very specific flow, while some of the brokers just allow you to click here and then the orders automatically go. So these screens don't pop up. It just goes in there. And this is all depends upon which flow, which brokers support. And that is how it, and if you come down to the bottom, there is a place order and finish, and then it brings you back to this screen, which is the order execution screen. You need to get used to it, and I think there is good support available from our support team for your first time subscription. I think also around selling, there is a SEBI regulation around CDSL authentication, which you need to learn as well. And some of them who are pros already know it. So before selling a stock any day, in the morning, you need to authenticate that within CDSL, which is our depository, which holds the stocks in a dematerialized format for us. So I think I talked about this, place order, current, historical. Now this is your portfolio. It has got two views to it. One is a current view and is a historical view. Now this is the transparency level which we want to bring in, that you actually also are able to track what orders you have put in historically and where this realized P&L coming from. And that is very important. So I think current and historic gives you that view. And this actually, if you look at, there's an option on every strategy once you have invested to invest more or reduce allocation. Now, investing more is about topping up with more amount, more money. Reducing allocation is to reduce it if you really feel that you need to get out of it at this point in time. You invest more, you again choose an amount, and the flow is repeated, whatever we saw earlier. So this is around the flow. And we are towards the end of this session. I'm not able to take any questions till now, but anything on the chat which I need to pick up will be good. Okay, there is one question on YouTube chat. How long are the orders good to execute? Do they roll over to the next trading day within the IntelliInvest app? The orders are good for, so once a stock is sold from a strategy, it will be bought again only once, so it has not matched certain indicators. So the order is valid till end of it, right? And then it will always be there in your pending order screen till you execute it. So it will always be there. And it will be available on next trading day, the next trading day afterwards, till you align it properly. So it will be there for long. So I hope it answers your question, Amya. Any other questions? Thanks, Ashwini, for sharing. So let me kick off the summary, and please keep putting the questions on the chat and I can pick it up. So what we understood in this entire session, and I will keep it for half an hour. I think it makes much more sense, and we can always go into details of it, but let's keep it as short as we can, and also for you to explore the app and come back with more questions, right? And then we can have interactive session. Please hit subscribe and like it as well. That would be really nice. And there is another question which has popped up, and the question is there a history of realized P&L? There is. So if I go back to this screen, right, once you click historical, you actually get to know the transactions which happened. So if you click here, you would know at what price you bought Dodla and what price you sold, and where did you get 20,000 from. So actually it has a history of the realized P&L as well. Also, you can track your portfolio performance in this, I would say, this graph actually replicates what your portfolio is going through as well, right? So I think that's also a good indicator if you really want a graphical view of it. Okay, like a graph, good point. So that's something which we can certainly plot for a user. That's a possible, I think it's very much possible if it's a, can be doable. So team is there on the call as well, so they would certainly pick it up and get it done, and we'll let you know, Raj. Thanks. Okay, and one more. Who is designing your strategy by which you are investing? That's a very good question. So we are a SEBI registered research analyst firm. I'm the principal officer of that, I would say. So what that means is we have built an algorithm to decide the strategy. We use optimization to run the strategy, but then it is run by rules set up by me. And similarly, there are other strategists on the platform who can create strategies and publish it. These are also SEBI registered intermediaries who can create those, and they also put in their own criterias. So while the AI ML engine, the algorithm helps generate recommendation, it is regulated by the SEBI registered intermediary before it lands for you as a order, before it lands with you as a recommendation, I would say. I hope it answers your question. Good one. I really like. People are getting into it, the thick of it. And should we move to summary? I think let me cover the summary quickly, and then we can come back to the questions. I'm seeing those questions here. So the summary for anybody is attempt your risk profile. If you already have a holding, you should analyze your holding as well. Try to match those two together. Are they matching? Or are you high risk here and low risk here? And I think that's where the discrepancy is. And that's where either you are not happy with your return, or you are too anxious with the volatility of the market. So these two are the extreme scenarios between which you could, if they are all aligned, that means you're good. So that is what you need to do. Idea is to then subscribe to one or more of these flagship multi-cap strategies. Now, some of these multi-cap flagship strategies are the aggressive multi-cap, conservative multi-cap, moderate multi-cap, dark horses, and there are few more as well on the apps. I don't remember it on top of my head, but there are these are flagship. So it's been running for more than 2 years now and generating significant returns. And then on top of it, you can pick up, put in additional strategies. Now, it also depends upon what capital you deploy. If you are deploying a capital of, let's say, 10 lakhs, up to 10 lakhs, one strategy is fine. But if you go beyond 10, you go to 20 lakhs, you should probably diversify into 2 strategies. Or if you go even more, you go to 3 strategies, 4 strategies. What happens is, if you are building a portfolio of, let's say, 1 crore, then spreading across 4 strategies means that you are spread across 100 stocks. So it is 1 lakh per stock, and that means your risk is reduced. But if you are investing all of that in one, then your risk increases quite a lot as well. So that's how it should be done. Then there are some smaller ticket using smaller ticket strategies. So if you really want to try it out, there are some small ticket strategies which we will talk about, and it's in the next slide where we have an offer for you as well, and which you can try it out, the end-to-end flow, and then you can always upgrade yourself to the flagship industry strategies, and that's a possibility, and we will talk about it. So it's about getting you understand the product, platform, make you return, and develop that confidence, and then you can top up. And then after that, you can pick up some of the thematic baskets as well, and then that is when you have actually got comfortable with the system, and you can say, let me put some money into some thematic baskets, and that is where a little more alpha can come from. And when I talk alpha, it is return beyond the market return. So this is a summary, and I think there are a couple of questions more. I will pick up those as well. Do you revisit your strategies? Very good question. I think we are continuously working on improving our strategies. Now, these strategies, we review it, we add additional parameters, we see the effectiveness, we run back tests and see it has got better. We deploy that as well. And then your strategy gets upgraded. And for you, it becomes seamless because that implementation is around, so that your new orders will come based on the upgraded strategy. But your existing portfolio will not change immediately, and I think that's what we have built like. And to next question is, if I am in need of urgent cash, how do I exit immediately? That's a click of a button. So reduce allocation we showed, and reduce allocation, that's the advantage of being into equity market, and is about you have the flexibility to, I think there was reduce allocation. This is the button. Click on reduce allocation, and you have orders generated real time, and you have cash the next day in your account. And with T plus 0 settlement coming in, you would have the cash the end of the day. I hope it answers your question, Braveheart. Another question. If there is no broker integration for brokers like HDFC Securities, is there a possibility of manually uploading the portfolio? Very good question. I would say opening an account with a discount broker is a 2 hours thing. So if you really love it, if you really love the idea, if you really love the returns you are getting, and you would like to try it out, opening a demat account with Zerodha, Upstocks, LS Blue, Angel One is a 2 hours thing. So move away. You can always migrate your holdings from HDFC to Zerodha or a discount broker, and discount broker has its advantages. It just charges the security transaction tax, which is 0.01%, and so which means building a 1 lakh portfolio, they take just 100 rupees from you, and there is no brokerage. It's zero brokerage. It's a discount brokerage. Whereas the full solutions like ICC Direct, HDFC suddenly charge a broker, but they provide a full solution, so they have their own advantages. You get a wealth manager, right, and then they can certainly help you out. I hope it answers. So may I get your Zerodha account created today, or maybe Alice Blue or Upstocks, whichever you prefer. We don't have any preference. Is there a plan to automate the placing of orders? We kind of miss the notification at times. This is important, and this is where the power of attorney discussions with the broker begin, and that is which allows us to then place orders directly with the brokers. Some of the brokers, now this is also SEBI guidelines that the investor should review their order before investing. Otherwise, you enter into the PMS space, but you need to understand the PMS space a little bit, where they take your money, then they manage it, and it is, we can talk about it at length, but those kind of features are available with PMS solutions. Eventually, we would do it at some point in time, but certainly now we start with this. But we will make sure that you don't miss on these alerts by doing WhatsApp integration, by making sure that you get all somebody prompts you to do it. So I think those things are being worked upon. So our user engagement engine, I think that's being worked upon. Part of it is done and part of it is in play. So you will get something like that soon. Raj, thank you. And I think I can go back. And there was a special offer last slide, and that's where we come to. So the special offer goes like this. You get unlimited access for the first month for 99 rupees. Now this is valid for Pro, Premium, all plans, Basic as well. You also get 3 free strategies as part of your upgrade, and these are 10 stock baskets. These are the small ticket ones, moderate, conservative, and aggressive. So you would fit into one of these profiles for sure. This is for you to give it a try. This certainly replicates the full-fledged strategy, but it starts with a 10 stock basket, and it's totally free. So that's for you. That's for all the people on the call, and that's certainly there for some time before it goes away. So that's it. And that's us. And so if you haven't downloaded the app, download it now. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe it now. If you haven't opened a Demat account, open it now. If you have any queries, ask now. And you can always reach out to me and the team on various channels, wherever you want to. You can push me directly. A lot of you would know me, and by now, and we will keep having these sessions and come up with new features. And another question, and before we end, and this is the last question probably we'll take, are these WhatsApp alerts going to be real time or end of day? These WhatsApp notifications are going to be real time. When the orders are generated, it will be pushed to you so you can execute on them. We are building even better real time integrations, and you will be able to see that as we progress. And somebody is asking my home address, and that would be fun as well because they want to meet me in person. So this is my home address. Oh yes, this is my home address. This is company's address. So you can just land here, and we can have a good chat over a cup of coffee. And certainly, if you want to invest 4 or 5 crores, I will be happy to invest it for you. So look forward. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.